are listening to Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change reality.
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
Goof On Radio.
You were either in or you were either out, brother.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Goof On Radio.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You're listening to Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
All right. Ooh, hold on a second. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I had to put eye drops in my eyes. That's what happens when you oversleep. All right. Are we alive? Are we live? Did we do it? Where's my phone? Oh. Sorry. Let me make sure. All right, we're live. So you say you can summon UFOs? Or are you vibrating like an alien signature? What the fuck does that mean? Oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. Thanks for hanging out. "38 messages. Terrible. Ah, what a day. I am sorry that I really don't know. I just fell asleep. Yeah, it was weird. Next thing I know, I woke up and I'm just sitting there. I'm not even thinking about the show, and my phone's ringing. Oh no! Oh no! I know. Okay. And then here we are. I was like, oh no. And then they were like, I know. And I'm like, how? And then I already said that. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, we're here today. We finally made it. It is Sunday, October 26th, 2025. It's the year of our Lord, Zitch, again. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, God, I gotta get rid of these. All right, that's working. You see, we got the sign back. I'm rearranging. I'm doing a lot of stuff. It's a little messy right now, but track lighting, yeah, I can see it down there. It's too bright. All right, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Who's here? Willie Wonkanobi? How you doing? Welcome, Bernie. Welcome. Who's this lady? J.J. Abrams. J.J. Angels. Like J.J. Abrams. Hello, Albie. You saw me on Bigfoot Diaries? Yeah. Hey, Glenn. Good to see you. Yeah. Oh, hey, today marks, get this, 3 full weeks that I haven't been sick. 5 years. What's up, MJ? Metalhead. David Wilcox, not Wilcox. Guys, welcome to the show. Views with a Z. Howdy do. What's up, Hellfire? On X of all places. Thank you for hanging. Yeah, we'll get some people in here. I'm going to tell you what happened because it's really weird. And I don't know if I mentioned this, I don't know, last show or whatever, but you guys know I've been going through the like every week I would get sick, I would throw up and continue throwing up until everything was out of my stomach, all acid, everything. It was so bad that I was guaranteed to lose at least 5 pounds every time I got sick. And every time I would tip the scales over 175, I'd get sick. Every single time I got to 175. Still not there. I didn't get back there yet. I lost a lot of weight that last time. And that was the worst throw up experience of my life. And I'm an expert on it now. And whatever came out of me that day, I'm reliving it. My lips started burning. How weird. The acid was so strong. It burned my lips. And look, you can throw up 1,000 times, which I did over 5 years probably. And you'll never, ever, ever will your lips burn. Because normally when you get sick and throw up, you're throwing up sickness, food. You know, you got sick from food poisoning or maybe an allergy or somebody drugged you or you're ODing. Whatever the case is, you will never get to where I was unless something, I don't know. It burned so bad that, my lips were peeling for like 3 days afterwards. These are brand new rich lips. I've never been kissed. All brand new. And, who'd want to kiss now, right? Blech! Hey, that tastes great. Great stomach acid, Rich. What is that, grape? So, I don't know if you guys have ever thrown up overnight, been sick, but it's 10 times worse than that. Yeah. It was bad. And so bad that I've been to the hospital 16 times in the last 2.2 years. 16. It's a lot of visits. They don't fix you. They don't repair. They repair you and get you back home. That's all they do in the emergency when I got sick. Nobody can figure out what's wrong. So I'm a diabetic, and of course I wasn't managing my blood sugar at all because every pill I took was making me sick and I couldn't take them. And I wanted to be on insulin. The doctor I had would not put me on insulin. She says, I can't put you on. And I go, why? She goes, I just can't. So I switched doctors. He says, why would she tell you that? She can't put you on insulin? I never heard of such a thing. I go, I don't know, but you can talk to her. She's next door. And so he got me on insulin 6 months ago. And after like the first month, my blood sugar has been great. And also my symptoms have been waning, getting less and less, but I was still throwing up every Sunday. And it's weird. It would happen once a week because I would eat the same stuff, gain the weight back, and get sick. Well, the last time I got sick was when Charlie Kirk, was taken out. That was September 10th. I was in the hospital the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. And went home on the 12th, I think. I don't know, it was Thursday. And I was still a little sick after I got home from the hospital. 3 days, I threw up. And after that, I got a little better, threw up again 3 days later. And that was the last time I was sick. And I don't understand. Like, when I was in the hospital and I saw Charlie Kirk get, the whole thing was happening while I'm in there and I can't get out, I started questioning whether or not, maybe I should bring God back into my life. Maybe that's what it's all about. Anyway, so when you get sick, you pray for your mother, you pray for dead people, you pray for dead family to come help you. Aren't you my guardian angel? Damn it, why you let this happen to me? So I'm not going to tell you what the deal was, but I made a deal with God and said some things and nice things and truthful things. And if you got me better, basically I said, I won't doubt. I will always keep you in my life type of shit, right? I started getting better almost immediately, like feeling different. I started feeling sharper in my mind. I started feeling hungry. My bathroom visits were 100% normal. Not to get personal, but when you're shooting out pebbles and then you go back to logs, you feel kind of better. You feel better about that situation. And all you old people know, when you're pooping pellets, you're backed up. Something's wrong. Well, maybe something was wrong with me because it ain't wrong anymore. And I did a lot of praying and I made, a faithful promise to whatever God is. I have my own version. You can have yours. But whatever it is, whatever happened, whatever I did, whatever energy is out there, this is why I kind of have the show set up with that title. I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but my brain, my body, my soul, tells me that the sickness has ended and I am not me. I feel way different. Like I said about a week ago, I'm not me. I don't know what happened, but in that miraculous healing process to God the Almighty, I started feeling better mentally, physically, spiritually, and that's all I can say about that. I have no answer as to why I started feeling so much better. I eat, I'm eating everything I want, but my blood sugar is normal. So that's probably why. The blood sugar was out of control. 300, 250, it's supposed to be 100. And I don't know, man. It's like a miracle. It is. And there are forces out there that we're not totally familiar with. Why do you think there's this topic? Why is the paranormal so popular? Why are we still talking about ghosts my whole entire life? That's all I mean, that's all we talk about in this planet, on this planet, in the planet. Ooh, Freudian slip. Maybe we're living in the planet as a species trying to overcome the adversities of the surface people. Juicy fruit. Well, I'm glad everybody's here. Thanks for hanging out. We got some show for you. Here we go. If you want to help support Truthology for Ufology, all the links are in the show description. What am I doing? And you too can be a goofonian. All right. Oh, look at... Oh, never mind. I don't want to mention it. Whew. Wow. I know I have this on dark mode. Why is this back on light? I don't understand why things change all the time. Yeah, let's do this. Customize, default, comfortable, compact. No. You know, I'm looking. No. I'm looking right now. Too bad. You guys are going to have to wait. My picture. All right. I want dark mode. I had it set on dark mode, and I don't understand this. Themes. Here we go. I hear music. What was that? Hey, did that. What's up, Dorothy? Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. Did that. 55 on X. Throwing it down. A $2 super duper chat. Right at the beginning of the show. Thank you, Dorothy, a continuing supporter of UFO. Who's that person now? Hey, Bernie! Holy crap, sticking Tuesdays. There's Dorothy. Oh, wait, there you... Wait, what's going on? There's... Modern medicine is a miracle. I'll get to Bernie's in a second. Dorothy, it is. But it really isn't. But it is, I get it. Modern medicine did not fix me. I guess, did you know insulin has been around since 400 CE? Yeah. I don't know what CE means, but that's what it said. And type 1 diabetes wasn't founded until 1936. Amazing, right? You go 2,000 years, we don't know jack squat about type 1. And all of a sudden, Jorge Frahe founded it out. Dorothy, thank you. You're a miracle. You're a miracle. Thank you for being you. And then Bernie throws down, what's up, Bernie Muro? Throws down a $10 super duper chat. It's a super dono. It's a donation with no emojis, no stickers, no comments. It's pure love right here on Goof On. Thanks, Bernie. I appreciate you, continuing supporter of Goof On. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What's up, Samo? How you doing, man? Tacey Hale. Oh, I'm so jealous right now. I would love to get a dog, but I can't. What's up there, Chicken Coop? Yeah, I believe you. You'd almost given up, and there's no more story to that. All right. Hey, what's up, Dan Peters? How you doing? Good to see you guys. Christopher V, how you doing? BC still, yeah, I know, but what's CE? Christ Evolutionary? I mean, you know? What's this? You got 7. What does that mean? I don't know. AFAP. But you guys are right. It's a miracle. So I consider if I don't throw up in one by next Sunday, I will consider myself healed from whatever sickness. Now I'm going to tell you the scary part. Did I already tell you? I think I told you guys. I thought maybe it was a parasite that got in me. And I may have told what happened, but I'm going to tell it again. Now, when I threw up, I couldn't do what Gus Fring did on Breaking Bad. Roll up a nice little towel for your knees, put it in front of the toilet bowl. I don't have the best knees on the planet. I never had a surgery, but I'm sure I need them. But for me to bend down and throw up for 10 minutes at a time, I wasn't going to get up right away. It would have hurt. So what I had to do was, I have a shower where you could just step right in. Not, you don't have to get in a tub or anything like that. You can just walk in because they make these places for old people. But I would stand at the entrance, open the door, and then I would have to bend over so the acid in my stomach would be facing downward and they would come up easier. You understand? So I would be standing there and then bending down, and then while I'm standing, not bending my knees to bend over because my stomach wouldn't tip over. It was so much easier for me to stand, do this, and stick my fingers down my throat 100 times to throw up. So that's how I was getting rid of it. And I was telling you that for a reason. Oh, so it would go into the shower drain, the stomach gas. There was no food. I didn't have any food particles coming out. So it wasn't like I had shit stinking up the shower, or it was just stomach acid. And gross as that may sound, it's true. It's what happens when you're sick. You do whatever you can. And that last time was so bad, I told you my lips burned, right? So about the time that I made this deal with God, that I would include him back in my life if I was to be healthy, I would incorporate God again, prayer. And I've been doing it every day. As weird as that may sound coming from me, like I said, I pray to what I pray for. You can pray to your God. I'll pray to my God. As long as you got a God, you got something that may make you think there's a positive influence on you, which is the whole essence of this show tonight, is our vibration that you also believe in, which I do too, but not in the sense that a lot of people believe, like we're vibrating so much that, oh, we're a beacon, for aliens. We're vibrating so much, we're a beacon for spiritual beings. Oh, we're vibrating so much, we can contact the dead. All that stuff. You know what I mean? I know we all have different vibratorial statuses, right? And that's a word, vibratorial, I think. Well, anyway. So, about a week ago when I started this whole new world that I'm living in, I'm going to the bathroom and I look to the right and a towel rack is there, and the door would open up and swing and cover the towel rack. So I always thought that was a weird design, and I'm looking at this design and I see on the bottom underneath the opening under the door, I see this black thing, probably about 8 feet from me. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I could see some detail, and I see this thing, and it looks like the stuff I was coughing up, the acid. See, what would happen is the acid would, I guess, coagulate somehow and turn into, because the medicine I was taking, it's called famotidine. It's supposed to suppress the acidity in my stomach, but what was going on, there was so much stomach acid, it would turn into a gel, and I'd be coughing it up and or going to the bathroom with it. But it was like melted gummy bears. I don't know. It was very gelatinous, sticky, and it was acid. Well, that's what I thought. Because I know this may sound gross, but if I was to just cough like when I had to, that shit will fly out of my mouth. I have to cover my mouth when I cough, as long as this stuff is creeping up my esophagus, which it does. If I cough, it will fly out. So now what?
And I also thanks everyone, so Professor Corrado Malanga and Armando May for helping us, and also all the people that are supporting us. I thank Jay Anderson and all his fans, everyone, to broadcast our news, to help us.
Well, I'm happy to be here and support your mission, because it is worthwhile, and it's something that needs to be revealed, I believe, for...
That was funny. I'm telling you about it, and I had no choice. I had to go spit it out. Gross. So I think I'm looking in the bathroom at this stuff. So I go, oh my God, how did it get all the way under the door? Like, it was in the corner. Yeah, it's not heart fluid, bro. I had it tested. So I'm looking under the door, and I'm like, all right, I'll see what it is, and I'll get rid of it. There's no way I could cough and it get under the door. So I do my business and I forget to go there. 5 minutes later, I come back. I'm like, oh yeah, I go to see what it was, and it was gone. It was gone. It was completely gone. And I drew a little diagram of it because I saw it again coming out. It was not coming out. See, I think whatever this is crawling out. It crawled out of the shower drain, and it's trying to get back inside me. That's what I think. Yeah, I do. I really do. I think I'm the host for this thing. I'm going to show you a picture of it. And this is really strange. You're going to be like, that's impossible. But this is what it looked like. And I'm making a diagram. And you're going to be like, impossible. But no, it's not. And this is what it looked like. And I told you what I thought I saw, but I'm going to tell you what I actually saw now. Just darkening it. I don't know why I'm making this artistically better, but so from a distance, that black blob that I saw looked like it looked weird. Like there was something in the center of it, and I liken it to an eyeball. Well, it was gone. I come back, and I don't see it there. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Now, I'm not thinking this is something that came out. I don't know at the time. So now I go back in there to get it. It's gone. And I'm standing by the shower and I'm thinking, what the hell? Where is it? And I'm looking around and I see inches from me in the crack of the molding along the wall was this strange object thingy that looked like it was alive. Now, I grabbed it and it was crunchy. It wasn't there minutes ago. It wasn't. I remember scanning everywhere and I'm really weird. Like I have this really strange memory. I can remember things that you wouldn't think you'd remember. I don't know, but this is what it looked like. Talk about weird. Why would it look like this? No, I didn't take a picture of it. No. Because I didn't know. I mean, I'm not walking around taking pictures of my life, by the way. But I don't think I have a picture of the blob. Well, I don't. Or that I don't. But what is it? It was crunch. It was whatever it was. It was dead. I threw it in the toilet. So annoying. I don't know. I feel like it was parasite that was in me, making me sick. I tell the doctor, I go, maybe we should check for parasites. Good idea. I'm like, why did you think of it? Yeah, for some reason, I'm not feeling so good all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe spiritually, this thing is attacking me. No, I haven't eaten. When I fell asleep watching football. I think it was around 3:30 the last time I saw the clock. I fell asleep for 3 hours. I was supposed to eat, but I didn't. All right. So that's the blob story. I don't know what happened, what it was. Well, I know that the stuff that was in me was stomach acid. It was tested. But this blob, this is weird. I haven't seen it since. I don't know. What if, there are these things that get in our bodies and they can totally wreak havoc on our entire digestive system. I learned so much about the digestive system. I don't even know how people aren't sick every day. I'm telling you, it is so sensitive. What the hell? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Is this anybody's baby? So, I found this extremely interesting story, and I'm going to play it for you. It's really cool. It's just the first few minutes of this story, this video. It's called Seconds of Horror. That's the name of this channel. But this story is really cool. It has to do with Lake Michigan. Now, Lake Michigan has been known to be a hotspot for UFO activity and USO activity. We're going to watch this. This is really amazing to me. How did this happen?
We are going to be looking at some disturbing videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. So we are almost towards the end of 2025, and there has been a lot of crazy news stories, a lot of things that have happened that we no longer talk about. But 2024 has had its share of crazy news stories as well, strange and mysterious news stories that I feel still to this day have no proper conclusion. Now, the very first strange news story of 2024 that we are going to go ahead and get into is the freighter that struck an object in Lake Superior.
A freighter carrying iron ore is taking on water in Lake Superior. The Coast Guard says the ship hit something.
Sorry, Lake Superior, same area.
Underwater just before 7 o'clock this morning, about 35 miles southwest of Isle Royale, Michigan. That's an island closer to Minnesota near the U.S.-Canadian border. Half of the crew has been evacuated for safety. The ship is 689 feet long. It is now on its way to a port for inspection and repairs.
So what is so strange about this story? Because ships can sink, they can collide with things. That's not a conspiracy. But back on June of 2024, the United States Coast Guard received a report at 6:53 in the morning from the 689 Michipicoten that they collided with something underwater and are taking on water. And this was approximately 35 miles southwest of Isle Royale, Lake Superior. Where they were 35 miles out is a good distance. That would mean by that distance, Lake Superior would be very deep, rolling out any rocks. It is also very important to note that the crew on the Michipicoten were experienced, and they also used the word elided, which is very important, because the word elided is a nautical term meaning to strike a stationary object. Researching this further, Lake Superior is the world's largest freshwater lake. It also is the coldest and deepest of the Great Lakes, with a maximum depth of 1,332 feet. Again, it's huge. The ship had departed from Two Harbors, Minnesota on Friday, bound for Thunder Bay in Canada, when it received a 13-foot gash shortly before 7 a.m.
God.
The crew was forced to use water pumps to displace the floodwater. Their actions managed to reduce the listing from 15 degrees to 5 degrees by 9:15 a.m. And still by that time, they were still using the word elided. They still believe they collided with a stationary object. The United States Coast Guard of the Great Lakes sent out this tweet, again confirming that the Michipicoten did indeed collide with a stationary object. The Michipicoten was carrying low-grade iron ore taconite, and as time progressed, the story would slowly change. But the very next day, that Saturday, the cause of the flooding was still unknown. By all accounts, they still cannot find the object that they smashed into that caused a 13-foot gash.
Good Lord! Can you imagine? You're captaining? You're campaigning? A 700-foot boat, and you collide with something where the waters are extremely deep. And they say collided, which means they hit a stationary object.
In the ship, Lauren Thomas, the Externals Affairs Division Chief for the 9th Coast Guard District, was quoted as saying that investigators will probe whether the hull was damaged by running aground, hitting a fixed or floating object, suffering a hull failure, or perhaps a combination of various factors. Even these news agencies started to notice that the story was slowly beginning to change because they would put in their articles earlier, the United States Coast Guard of the Great Lakes said that the ship had struck something underwater. What's even more curious is that there were articles that came out and there were a couple of interviews that came out that stated that the ship, before it made this collision, actually diverted off of its course. And then this was never expanded upon. There was no follow-ups as to why this ship had diverted.
That was a 1,000-foot ship that diverted off of its track.
As time was still progressing and the story was making its way around the airways and still yet no plausible answer, of course people are going to begin to speculate, and they did. The incident has sparked speculation online about the possible unidentified submerged object, the USO, the nautical equivalent of a UFO. Users on X posted various theories online, many of them tongue-in-cheek, as they discussed the incident. The water 35 miles southwest of Isle Royale is 600 feet deep. I wonder what the Michipicoten collided with underwater, one wrote. Another commentator responded, maybe Elon's rescue sub, referring to a submarine created by mogul Elon Musk. Another suggested the bottom of the lake was a watery graveyard for abandoned cars. So again, a lot of people were talking, coming up with different theories. News agencies were also interested in this story.
Wait a second. Somebody suggested the bottom of the lake was a watery graveyard for abandoned cars? What does that have to do with anything?
Sending emails out to the Coast Guard for further answers. And we can't forget that the Great Lakes also have a lot of mysteriousness and strangeness that surrounds them. A lot of odd stories come out of the Great Lakes. This story was also a couple months after the anomaly on Beauvais Island that kept appearing. You can see this news article here that says it's not the first time that a USO mystery has gripped ocean fans. In April, a wave modeling website suggested a huge underwater object was moving at incredible speeds alongside the African coast. There was also an object that kept appearing over Lake Michigan as well. As more time then progressed and there still wasn't any answers, this is where we started to hear something different. Lieutenant Joe Snyder of the United States Coast Guard came out and said an underwater collision still can't be 100% ruled out, but the gash in the ship's hull is likely due to a stress fracture. None of the crew members on the Michipicoten ever gave a public statement as to what happened. The only ones speaking on the subject were high up in the United States Coast Guard. And at that time, the damaged Michipicoten was laid up at Kiefer Terminal in Thunder Bay. Investigators from the United States and Canada were trying to figure out what went wrong, and they were investigating it further. But still, to this day, there's never been an answer as to what happened to this ship. They say it's very likely that it was a stress fracture from the taconite, but they're not 100% sure, and if it did indeed hit something, they don't know what that something is or was. One would think that this experienced crew on the Michipicoten would know the difference between a stress fracture and colliding with a stationary object. With there being no concrete answers, and the way this story was swept under the rug and forgotten about, the crew members not being able to speak on the subject, a lot of people feel like the ship collided with a UFO, or perhaps an enemy submarine, or something else altogether that exists under Lake Superior that they don't want us to know actually exist. Because again, a couple weeks prior to this story, this massive object was seen on radar over Lake Michigan. So is it possible this same object traveled over to Lake Superior, or perhaps another one of these objects exists under Lake Superior, whatever this object could be? But here's something even more interesting.
Crazy.
The Michipicoten may have collided with something because it's never been confirmed on June 8th, 2024. On that exact same day, 2 kayakers went missing on Lake Superior. That is right. Very interesting coincidence.
What?
This article was published on June 8th, 2024, and it says, the search for two people who went missing Saturday afternoon, June 8th, after a boat capsized in Keweenaw Bay resumed Monday morning. The Michigan State Police says its Marine Services unit located the capsized boat and both missing people involved with it Monday afternoon. The victims were deceased and located in an area nearly 220 feet in depth in Lake Superior.
Wow.
No more came from this story either. Nobody knows what caused this boat to capsize.
Wow. So it sounds like this is a defense mechanism that it seems like anytime something, gets near it, it go, it just shoots straight up. Yeah. And for those people who are making comments and trying to help me about my stomach, after 5 years, 16 hospital visits, and 1 gallbladder removed, everything and anything has been tried. Although I appreciate you guys offering me things, it's been done. And I said earlier, I am taking famotidine. So I'll just tell you again, nothing works. It seems it was diabetically related to my blood sugar being out of whack. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but right now, I'm all right. All right, let's get... so, nobody knows what happened to these 2 kayakers. It's like, there's something has always been there. See, people think that Lake Superior, Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, what are all the lakes over there, right? There's 5 of them, right? Lake Titicaca. And some people think they're connected through tunnels. It's a natural formation. These aren't made. No, they bore out the tunnels. They go underneath. They live under.
There was actually a fishing tournament taking place that same day, and the waters were fine. Only hours after the Michipicoten perhaps collided with something on Lake Superior, this boat capsizes and both people on board lose their lives.
Word.
There is also something strange about this news story when it comes to the numerology as well that makes me feel like there's something more at play here than meets the eye. On the Michipicoten itself, the ship, there were exactly 22 crew members. The 2 individuals that had capsized, well, there was 2 of them, and they were found exactly in 220 feet of water. What is up with all the 2s? And there have been no more updates to either story. Let's go ahead and move on with our next bizarre news story.
This next story is also weird, but I only was going to play the first story, but I'm kind of liking this next story. Do you know who that guy is? It's me. Yeah. No, it's not me. I was kidding. But I want to talk briefly about, and I kind of already did, with what's going on in Lake Michigan. It is weird that, look, there's been a lifetime. Here, I'm going to do something we've never done before. We're going to use AI Gemini, and we're going to ask it how many UFO reports have been at Lake, was it Superior? Is that what it was? Superior? Yeah. All right, let me get, here's Gemini. Ask Gemini anything you want. New. All right. Ready? How many UFO sightings a year does Lake Superior receive?
Precise number of UFO sightings per year specifically for Lake Superior is difficult because official organizations typically track sightings by state or province rather than by a single body of water. The Lake Superior region, which borders Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Ontario, has had notable, documented historical incidents like the disappearance of an Air Force jet over the lake while pursuing an unknown object in 1953, the Kinross incident. However, a consistently tracked annual average number just for the lake itself is not readily available in public reports from major UFO research centers like the National UFO Reporting Center, NUFO Reporting Center, NUFORC, or the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON. Reports are generally logged to the nearest city or county within the bordering state/province.
It has been historical. There's been historical incidents like a disappearance of an Air Force jet over the lake while pursuing an unknown object in 1953. It's called the Kinross incident. KINROSS. Determining a precise number of UFO sightings per year, specifically for Lake Superior, it's difficult because official organizations typically track sightings by state or province rather than by a single body of water. That I get, but when you do a search, just only the ones over Lake Superior. Because people will put, where did it happen? Lake Superior. Where did it happen? Surprise, Arizona. You know, it's not like there's no way to find out. AI guy, Gemini. ChatGPT is better, I think. Matter of fact, let's try it. Let's see what ChatGPT says. See. Ask anything. You ready? Oh, what am I asking again? How many, Here we go. Is Lake Superior a hotspot for UFOs? And how many UFO sightings a year do they receive? Okay. Here we go. Oh, it's not playing it. There are quite a few reports for UFOs or UAPs. It's already better than Gemini around Lake Superior, and the lake is sometimes mentioned in UFO folklore as a hotspot. But the evidence is far from definitive and concrete statistics are scarce. Here's a breakdown. Ooh, hold on a second. I have cotton mouth from smoking pot. One of the more famous cases, the Kinross incident on November 23, 1953, where an F-89 jet was scrambled to intercept an unidentified object over Lake Superior. The jet disappeared. The radar blip for the UFO disappeared as well. Various anecdotal reports of strange lights over parts of the lake, for example in Whitefish Bay, Michigan, have been documented. Some UFO enthusiasts' sources claim that lakes in general, and Lake Superior in particular, have more sightings than average, particularly due to the large open water, remoteness, and fewer ground lights or obstructions. So, yes, Lake Superior is referenced in UFO lore, and there is some local reporting of strange lights. That lends it some status as a spot of interest. But how many sightings per year? Here, things get murky. I could not find a reliable source that gives a consistent annual number of UFO sightings specifically over Lake Superior. Some relevant data points, however. In the Duluth Superior, Lake Superior region area, one article said 8 sightings were reported in 2020 in the Duluth Superior area. For the state of Michigan, which touches Lake Superior, in 2023, nearly 135 reported unexplained sightings statewide. A broader national perspective, for example, in Minnesota, Newforce National UFO Reporting Center recorded 425 sightings in 5 years in that state. Since we don't have a breakdown by lake or a dedicated Lake Superior statistic, we can't say X sightings per year over Lake Superior. A summary. Is it a hotspot? Well, I'd say it may be considered a hotspot in UFO folklore. Yes, it comes up more than any other lake, but this is more qualitative than qualified. How many per year? Well, there are no reliable number specifically for Lake Superior is available in the sources we find here. In the region nearby, we have a single year count in the single digits, 8 in 2020, and in the broader state context, we have hundreds, but nothing lake specific. If you like, I can try digging into the UFO database of National UFO Reporting Center, Newforce, or the Mutual UFO Network, GUFON, MUFON, to pull out all reports geocoded to Lake Superior and estimate an annual average. Would that be helpful? Yes. Thank you for your feedback. Isn't that interesting? ChatGPT is amazingly detailed. Way better. Oh, hold on. I want to ask it if it knows this shape. Can we do that? Let me take a picture of it. Camera. Yes. Okay. Took a picture of it. What does this shape mean? Or what is its meaning? I don't know. Here we go. I put my picture in and I asked it, what does it mean? The drawing you uploaded appears to show a hexagon, 6-sided outer shape containing a smaller diamond rhombus shape inside, which is shaded in. Wow. The meaning of such a shape really depends on the context in which you found or drew it. There isn't a universal or widely recognized symbol that looks exactly like this in the combination. Well, here are a few possible interpretations depending on the context. Geometric or abstract symbol. It could simply be a design or emblem made from geometric form, sometimes used in logos or symbolic sketches. It could be a metaphorical meaning. A smaller shape inside a larger one sometimes represents containment, protection, or layers of meaning. For instance, an inner core being shielded. Oh my God! That's what it was inside of me. It was shielded, protected. It was able to survive and thrive and come out whenever it wanted to as acid bath. Whoa. See, I knew that shape, but it brought me to this. That's crazy. Or 3. Scientific or technical resemblance. In chemistry, a hexagon can represent a benzene ring, though the inner part wouldn't typically be drawn as a diamond. In geometry or architecture, it might be a top-down view of a 3D shape like a hexagonal prism or a cube seen at an angle. Esoteric, number 4. Esoteric or personal symbolism. Some people use nested geometric shapes like a hexagon and diamond. It sigils or diagrams to represent balance, harmony, or opposing forces. Can you tell me where this symbol came from or what context it's in? Was it a dream, a logo, a sketch you made, something you saw? That would help narrow down the meaning. How do you answer it? I saw it? Hold on. I saw it. Interesting. When you say you saw it in your bathroom, can you describe exactly where you saw it? Was it drawn or marked? Did it appear as a reflection? Makes a big difference interpreting it. It was a physical drawing or mark. It might just be random doodle stain or mineral pattern. If it was light or shadow shape, it could have been caused by something in the room. For example, light reflect. Oh, never mind. Anyway, wow, ChatGPT has got my vote. That's really good. How it wants follow-ups? Are you kidding me? Reporters don't even do that well. It's a computer. It's AI. It's AI. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 I got it. What song was that? Well, get her up, knock her down. Something's going on around Saturday night. Saturday night. SATURDAY. Night. Bay City Rollers. Where are my 70s kids, huh? I was born in 68. I think one of the best times to be born. Hey, let me tell you, I wouldn't have minded being born in 1940 when my parents were born, 41, 43, around there. Dude, they saw the new TV shows all the way up to what we have now. They were literally there in the beginning. But I'll take mine. I had the 70s and all the 80s. God, what a time. Do you remember when record players were like, everybody had one, you had to be careful. You got a diamond needle on it. It's got a diamond needle. I spent $80 on that. Whatever. And I remember when I got my Techniques stereo. And it had its turntable. It was built in. It was a stack. Yeah. And it had 2 tape players, an equalizer with like, I think it was 16 band, 8 on each, you know. And then the tuner, power source. And then the record player would sit on top. You lift open the lid. And it had a diamond needle already. I didn't even need to buy one. I was so happy. And then I looked at the quality of the diamond needle. I'm like, that'll work. That's good diamond. It's good. It's not from kids who were killed or murdered. No, nobody died for that diamond. Yeah. Do you remember? How about this? Do you remember picture discs? Yeah. I showed them on the show before. I have about 6 or 7 picture discs. Metallica, Creeping Death. Yeah, it's really cool. Because I also have a Metallica album, Kill 'Em All. But on the one side is side 1, Metallica. And on side 2 is King Diamond. Yeah. They accidentally labeled it wrong. Yeah, I checked on how much that album's worth. $200 on eBay if I wanted to sell it. $200 for a Kill 'Em All album. I'd probably get 100 because it's a little worn. It's been everywhere. Yeah, remember picture discs? Then laser discs. Remember laser discs? Now, does this all equate to alien technology? Because I just want to say something real quick. Like, what have we received from aliens? What have we received from aliens? Kevlar. I got bulletproof. Radar? No. That takes them down. Wait, so the one thing we invented can take down UFOs? Yeah. I was watching a Joe Rogan comment yesterday. I'm going to pull it up here. It's funny to listen to people that you think would know stuff. Like, I thought Joe Rogan knew stuff about. He knows absolutely nothing what he's talking about. He's one of the worst when it comes to UFOs. Remember the show he had? Joe Rogan explains everything. Remember? I didn't like it. Now, I liked the show. I didn't like what Joe Rogan, he kept ripping on everybody, saying that Bigfoot people are, hopeless, shameless, single guys that'll never get a girlfriend. Meanwhile, all the guys were probably married. You know what I mean? Have kids, grandkids, and all that shit. He did a poor job on that show. That's why it didn't get renewed. What am I doing now? What am I looking up? What am I doing now? What am I looking up? Oh, Joe Rowe interview from yesterday. Let me pull it up here. It's a 4-minute clip, I think. I don't know why this clip is making... Yeah, U.S. Congress finally showed UFO evidence previously hidden from us. No. When did it? 2 days ago this came out. It's got 361,000 views. And we're going to come back to the creepy video. I want to look at that creepy video one more, that next story, because it might be worth it. Yeah. Let's get that set up. There we go. Oh, well, we're pulling it up. No. There we go. Joe Rowe, tell us what you don't know. He knows some things, but,
Herbert Walker was the guy that Hal Puthoff and a bunch of these scientists, he brought them together and said, we have recovered a crashed UFO on more than one occasion, and we have a back engineering program, and we're considering disclosure to the American people. I want you to list the positives, the positive impact of society, and the negatives.
Yeah.
And they did it with quite a few different scientists, and they all had more negatives than positive.
If they came out with this information,
exactly.
to share this information, what would be the effect on society?
Yes.
More negatives than positive.
More negatives than positives.
Because?
Disruption of religion, government,
how does
economy.
That disrupt religion?
Well, I mean, it depends on your religion.
I understand how it does. I just don't.
Depends on your religion, and depends on where these things are from and what is happening. What do we know?
In the Bible, Ezekiel has golden chariots from the sky.
Exactly. Yeah, and
Ezekiel in the Bible has golden chariots from the sky. And Matthew McConaughey, I'm going to roll this booger in my finger.
A wheel within a wheel. Yeah, the Ezekiel stuff sounds like a UFO encounter. And it's not the only version of that in ancient texts. In the ancient Hindu texts, they have vimanas, these things that are flying through the sky. Like, what are those things? In the Rig Veda. And
you notice how when in the past, in the ancient times, these times, the objects never have aerodynamically designed ships. Like a disc, a triangle. We have to have wings. We have to have, a motor to pull or push it, right? A stabilizer. What do you call the thing in the back? You got that thing in the back. Forget about it.
The Bhagavad Gita, there's all these depictions of these things that sound like you're talking about a spaceship or at the very least some kind of technology.
Yeah.
Like this thing about the Nephilim, Like that the gods mated with women and created men who are monstrous. Boy, doesn't that sound like aliens came down and genetically manipulated primates and created human beings? That's a version of it that you could imply from the text. It's all really weird stuff, man. Like really weird. If you found out that was all true, it would probably change everything about society. And this is what Herbert Walker and those guys decided after. So Hal Puthoff was explaining it to me on the podcast, like how they put a numerical value to each thing. I'm like, like we were that close?
Right.
Like imagine if that happened.
But they don't tell us how it'll change society. Oh yeah, it'll change society. How? Well, religion, gas. What? Religion? Yeah, some people, might accept it, some may not. So, there's that. What? So what if they will accept it because their eyes won't lie to them? You will lie to them, but not their eyes. And that's what we can't have. Can't have that. Yeah, Tacey, you know what they called those Victoria record players? Victrolas, right? A Victrola? Dorothy knows. Dorothy, you're one of our ancestors here, right? You would know. Victrola, right? And what were freezers called? Like not, like a refrigerator. What were freezers called? Ice boxes, yes. Don't say that now, though. What were they called? I forgot. I lost my my train of thought. All right, go.
This is 1990, right?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but these kind of really weird things, as you put them, they excite you more than they give you fear. Would that be fair?
Yeah. I mean,
you seem excited. You get excited about different possibilities.
Who wouldn't? Yes.
I mean, I have people go, oh man, no, Rogan loves these conspiracy theories. Like, I don't see him liking the conspiracy theories. I see him always being interested in an alternate way something went down and being interested and excited about that, but not going, no, never disengaging from it and going, no way, no, because I believe how it was and what I read, and that's how it is. That's not where you're moving from.
No, it's never a denial of information and facts, and it's also a recognition that oftentimes a large swath of society just goes with a narrative without having any real understanding of what the actual facts behind it are. And then there's that term, this pejorative term, conspiracy theory. The problem with that, calling someone a conspiracy theorist, is conspiracies are real. Like, there's a lot of evidence. And if you want to sit down, I could fucking show you a ton of them. And so anybody who says, like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, I'm like, okay, let's talk about conspiracies. Like, do you think that any of them exist? Do you think that people conspire? Is it like it's a natural part of human behavior that's been documented throughout history, even in governments? I mean, literally the thing that got us into the Vietnam War was a conspiracy. It was fake. The Gulf of Tonkin, it was a false flag operation that it never took place at all. They lied to the American people. That's a conspiracy. Like, that's just one conspiracy that turns out to be true. There's a lot of them. Yep. The problem is people don't want to look like a conspiracy theorist. They've done such a good job of making it a goofy term that you don't ever want to attach to you. It can cause damage to your reputation. Yeah. If you're in a job where people have to take you seriously, fortunately I'm not, but if you're in a job where people have to take you seriously, you don't want to say anything weird like, hey, I think aliens are real. Like, people think you're a kook. And then...
You know what I hate about this society? That those people who call you a kook behind your back and would act the way Joe Rogan just showed us, they are just as curious as you are. I hate the lying people like that. What do they call those people? Assholes, right? But there's another term for them. Huh? Rich, I seen enough. URB official balance. Huh? URB? You are the official balance. I don't know. I don't know what that means. And it hurts to think. Yeah, Victrola. Yeah. Dorothy, no, I know, but I knew you would know the name. Yeah, I love you. Thank you. Hey, I get the old man jokes too. I look in the mirror every day and gosh, it's funny to look at.
They discount your opinion on everything.
Yeah.
But if you just know the actual facts, like people that don't think there's anything, that aliens are real, there's no way, we're alone, we've never been contacted.
Why not?
Gary Nolan, the guy who was on here yesterday that was talking about cancer research, he was also telling us about a piece of wreckage they found from a craft. Was it 1950 that they found it? Which one? The first one, the Silica one? So they have direct chain of possession of this evidence from, I believe it was 1950. And it was almost pure silica. And the magnesium ratios were so off that he said that this magnesium had to have been, it had to have been sourced from a place that experienced a neutron bomb every 2 minutes for 900 years.
All right. First of all, let's get one thing straight, Joe Rogan. Gary Nolan is a paid disinformationist. Yes, in my opinion. We know what Gary Nolan is. We know how he got into this field, Greer. And we also know that Gary Nolan plays one side, that narrative. That's Gary Nolan. So when he talks about stuff like this, you would think, well, it's innocuous, right? I mean, it really doesn't matter what he says about an object. No, it does. It does. Because what he just said, an atom bomb, neutron bomb, whatever kind of bomb would be going off for 900 years every 9 seconds. I know what that sounds like. But that kind of radiation, it's everywhere in the universe. It's not abnormal. It wasn't from a UFO. They say it's from a UFO. It's a rock. Nobody can prove otherwise. And they would never. And I'm saying this, and I know it to be true. The government will never show us what a piece or a full UFO looks like. They won't do it. They'll show us pictures, artwork, recreations, but we will never see the real thing, ever. Just go back to the first UFO hearing that we had in 50 years, just a couple of years ago. Right? What was it? 0.8 of a second? Thank you. Thank you. That's how quick it went by. By the time I said thank you. Thank you. And then what'd we get the second time? Or third or whatever? Jake Barber's egg. From an egghead. Who's not an egghead. Who is now claiming he can summon UFOs through psionics. How did that happen? Think about it. It's their bread and butter. We're going to sell this psionic shit. It sounds cool. There's a camera out there, psionic camera. It's all working out, Johnny. We got it all planned. Do you know that psionics camera is the biggest piece of shit for UFO hunting? Don't use it. No, but I can see things. Do not use a psionic camera. I'm telling you, don't. A real researcher will never believe what's on that camera, what's on that video, what's on that whatever. It changes the color. It changes the way it looks. I don't like it. It fills in gaps and thinks that it's looking at something else when it isn't. Maybe it's better now that it's out for a couple of years. However, no psionic anything. So, Jake Barber's a fraud. I would bet my life, I really would, that he can't summon a UFO. Jake, if you're watching, the offer's on the table. My life, you summon. And if you don't do it, it's your life. And that's where Jake Barber would have a friend fake that a UFO was being sent our way. Can't trust these people. What do you mean, these people? I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You can't trust anybody who says they're a whistleblower experiencer. I'm telling you, if they're from the military and they're on TV, they're a liar. Go, Joe.
That's how off the isotopes were to magnesium that we find here on Earth. He's like, I'm not saying it's impossible for someone to ever do that, but I'm saying this is from 1950. Like, this is a real piece of what they're saying is a wreckage of a craft. And it has a material composition that is impossible for a normal person to create in 1950. So what the fuck is this? Right. And you say that to people, and they're like, oh. So Gary Nolan, who's a professor at Stanford, he's a professor in the what is his forensics? Is that what his he does cancer research, but what is his actual title? Stanford School of Medicine professor. Anyway, rock solid credentials, published, and people brought him this material, and they said, would you...
It's the personality of this bonehead you worry about, not his credentials. Anybody could have credentials. Look at Avi Loeb, professor at Harvard. And the guy screams to the world, to the heavens, that aliens are on their way. We better be careful. Well, I don't know. Then he says, they could be on their way, but let's say they are and this is a ship. We're fucked.
Analyze this because you know all these different scientists and endowed chair, Department of Pathology, Stanford School of Medicine. So when a guy like that is saying, no, this is a composition of this piece of wreckage that you can't make here.
Right.
They found a type of alloy that doesn't exist on Earth, and it has, on an atomic level, layers upon layers of whatever this alloy is. He's like, this costs billions of dollars to create.
Yeah, and you're hearing it from a paid shill to the government. You can't believe him, Joe. Joe, let me on the show.
Who has more military bases than us?
No one.
Who has more nuclear weapons pointed at other people than us? We have them all.
Doesn't China or Russia have about 300 to 400 more missiles than we do? I'm sorry. I remember us not having the most.
All over the place. And there's all these multiple sightings and eyewitness accounts of like very credible people who say these things have hovered over military bases.
It'd be pretty cool if these aliens were benevolent overlords and they were like, hey, my children.
Yeah. Or maybe even so advanced intellectually that the concept of an overlord is preposterous and they're just biological management. There's just the gardeners tending to make sure the weeds don't get out of hand and just like let this process continue to play itself out. Because this process of technological innovation it's the everything that humans do.
Yeah.
It's what we do at the pinnacle of our creation is we make better technology.
Well, I always wonder about fractals and whether or not, like, this idea of this being a simulation, this being, like we are kind of replicating, we are creating machines and doing our best to create them in our own image, right?
Yes.
And that's interesting. That's because the mythologies that we subscribe to are the idea that this God that we pray to made us in his image. Right. And we're doing the same thing now with robots and
Yes.
computers. And that's an interesting thing that we seem to have this sort of paradigm, this idea that that's the.
What I think is weird is that we make the robots look like humans, and you've heard all of this. You've heard this all before. That's to make us feel better. We want a familiar face, right? No. I want to be scared all the time. I want each one of these to have the Terminator face to remind me that they can go rogue at any time. Oh, yeah. One of these AI bitches right here, she can build a gun in 32 seconds with steel from her boot and a ribbon in her hair. I'm telling you, we're in trouble.
Scaffolding for the way we think, right?
Women robots that hate men too?
And to what end? And why are we doing that?
Maybe it's the
and has
creation
it
of a
already
new life
happened?
form.
But has it already happened? Are we the result of that impulse?
Look at the look. Look at the look he's giving her. Yeah, you know you want it. Look, he's looking over there. They're all looking at information, but him, he's got an ulterior motive. I want her lips. I want her top. And I don't mean her blouse. That's a robot with a heart. That's a robot with stiff joints, if you know what I mean. It took me a minute to come up with something.
That happened a long time ago.
I think we are the shit-throwing chimps that are going to become the nuclear physicists.
That's what
we are the shit-throwing chimps from 2001 that become Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think this thing that we become is integrated with technology. It's probably some sort of a hybrid. It's some sort of a cyborg.
That's wild.
Because I think
he's wrong. We were already the chimps, champ. We were already chimps. We're not chimps. Oh no, Rich. Equating us to aliens, to them, we are chimps. No. Chimps are chimps. We're smarter than chimps. Rich, you don't get the analogy. We to chimps is like the aliens to us. Nope.
we're already like on the.
I don't know a chimp that could build a dam. I don't know a chimp, but Rich, you're not getting it, that could build a tunnel. What? The aliens are that much smarter than we are, that much smarter to apes, chimps. Yeah, I get that, but we're not chimps. I had that conversation with somebody and I almost lost it.
Verge of merging, you know, all this talk of like Neuralink and all these various things. We watched this video the other day of this guy who was Googling questions and getting answers in his head with his headpiece on. Have you seen that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Incredible. Right? So how long before
That's amazing.
that is like.
How the frig is that even possible? Isn't that amazing? We're less than 5 years away from having possibly mind-reading technology.
That's Pong.
I know, but that's...
And then you have the Unreal 4 engine in 2023 that looks like a movie.
No.
Like how long before
I'm
that
sorry,
technology gets to the point where it's just supreme? We are the shit-throwing chimps from 2001 that become Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think this thing that we become is integrated with technology. It's probably some sort of a hybrid. It's some sort of a cyborg.
That's wild.
Because I think we're already like on the verge of merging. You know, all this talk of like Neuralink and all these various things. We watched this video the other day of this guy who was Googling questions and getting answers in his head with his headpiece on. Have you seen that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Incredible. Right? So how long before that is like that's Pong?
I know, but that's...
And then you have the Unreal 4 engine in 2023 that looks like a movie.
No.
Like how long before that technology gets to the point where it's just supremely advanced and we literally are like gods?
But my question really is also the idea that that's engineering. right? That's a tool.
It's innovation.
But there's engineering. So there are two aspects to it. One is getting information faster and stuff, which doesn't get you closer to truth, but it gets you information faster. There are endless facts. But more importantly, I always wonder, like, why we are given this. I really believe that human potential is pretty much infinite. Whatever you can imagine and beyond, we can do. And we are doing. We seem to be doing this. Like, think about how crazy that is. I can wear a headset and I can do things with my mind and look up the answer.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's magic. It's crazier than magic. But there's a way to measure that and quantify that and replicate that. So it's not magic. I can do it and I can tell you exactly how I get there, which is even crazier. So what is that leading us to? It is nudging us closer. It's like I think it's very significant that we're getting a better understanding of what it's like to be someone else.
Yeah.
We are. It's really hard to say that a Yanomamo Indian or whoever it might be thinks about things differently than I do.
That's interesting. I'll put the link to this video in the show description, so you guys can watch the rest of that. Let's watch this one story and then we'll bail. Whoops, I hit the wrong one. Here we go.
It's to either story. Let's go ahead and move on with our next bizarre news story of 2024. And this would be the strange case of Kyle Effinger.
Officers found him unconscious inside the...
Hold on. I don't know why the... Let me refresh.
On board lose their lives. There is also something strange about this news story when it comes to the numerology as well.
There we go.
That makes me feel like there's something more at play here than meets the eye. On the Michipicoten itself, the ship, there. Let's go ahead and move on with our next bizarre news story of 2024. And this would be the strange case of Kyle Effinger.
Officers found him unconscious inside the engine's intake cowling.
And that there was a medical emergency on the de-icing pad. And then the police showed up.
Across the tarmac, Nelson used her cell phone to zoom in on the body she saw lying underneath the engine.
As a nurse, I know what it looks like when people are doing compressions. When I looked out the window and I zoomed in, I could see somebody going up and down.
She says first responders did CPR for about 20 minutes.
They put his body into an ambulance and the ambulance didn't drive away. And I know that if that happens, then they're no longer living.
She flies out of Salt Lake International often.
It's a big airport and there's a lot of people coming in and out.
That's not a good
in Washington, D.C. This first happened back on November of 2024. An individual on TikTok, he was recording the sky because he heard all the sirens, all the happen. This is also very interesting timing now that I think about it, because this happened about 3 or 4 months before the Black Hawk crashed into the American Airlines plane in Washington, D.C. This first happened back on November of 2024. An individual on TikTok, he was recording the sky because he heard all the sirens, all this noise, and he looked up in the sky and he saw a trail of smoke, which he believed may have been coming from a plane.
I do not know what's going on right now. I heard a noise. I come outside. There's sirens blaring.
That's a chemtrail.
And I see this
That's a chemtrail.
Huge trail in the sky. It's midnight right now.
All right, I'm going to let this one go. All right, we got to go. I got to eat something. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. And sorry about the late start, but we still did about 90 minutes, so I'm proud that we did that. And look, I don't know if we're vibrating at a level that can make us a beacon to aliens / and or spirits. I don't know. It's always food for thought, though, in this subject, right? It's always something new. All right, I am going to go, but thank you very, very much, everybody. Moderators, super chatters, newcomers, and veterans. Thank you for hanging out here at Goof On tonight on Sunday. For everybody. We didn't do a members show, but I got plans for the members, so you'll be all right. Don't worry about it. All right? All right. Then we're out of here. And tomorrow at 2, Rich Saves America will be live. Got a good one tomorrow. Monday. Tomorrow's Monday already. All right. what do I usually say? Oh yeah, if you ain't looking up, you ain't looking out for ufology. Aw, isn't that nice? All right. We'll get you out of here with a little goof on. Hits like a freight train. Alien Bless.
From the sky, no one and no alibi, lies burning hotter than the sun, fake prophets cashing in the dream, selling hope through a broken beam. What's the truth? Where's it gone? Through the dark, echoes of a question mark. Why'd they lie?